The pilot and lawyer wife of a well-known Texas law business founder were identified as the first fatalities in the fatal jet crash in Maine. 6 people were killed when a private jet flipped over and caught fire at a Maine airport over the weekend, shortly after a voice over the radio said, "Let there be light." The victims included a pilot who joined the company less than a year ago, an event planner, and the wife of an elite Texas law firm partner. Records and reports state that Tara Arnold, a 46-year-old powerful lawyer who resided in a Houston mansion with her 2 children and extremely affluent husband, was traveling to Paris when the jet crashed on Sunday night, killing everyone on board. The aircraft was registered to Arnold and Akin Law, Tara's husband Kurt Arnold's prosperous personal injury practice, where she was employed. According to people who spoke to ABC 13, Kurt Arnold and his business partner Jason Akin were not on the aircraft when it crashed. However, according to the reports, Kurt's wife Tara was a passenger on the fateful plane. Leslie Briones, a local Texas senator, praised Tara on Monday, but later admitted that she did not personally see her death in the plane crash. According to reports, Briones declared, "I am close friends with Kurt and Tara Arnold." Briones described her as a remarkable individual, a fearless leader, and someone with a heart of service. According to his father, Jacob Hosmer, a 47-year-old pilot from the Houston area who served as the flight's captain, also perished in the collision, KPRC2 said. Gary Hosmer, a bereaved father, told the publication, "He's in heaven now with Jesus." Since May 2025, Hosmer has been employed by Arnold and Akin as a pilot, according to his LinkedIn profile. He has previously worked with Wing Aviation, Apollo Aviation, and Priester Aviation, all of which regularly operate private charter aircraft. Hosmer was a devoted and kind husband and parent. According to his friends, a longtime acquaintance told the site, "I would describe him as a great pilot, a loving husband, and a phenomenal father. He was always considerate. He laughed all the time." ABC 13 named Shauna Collins, an event coordinator, as a 3rd victim. Collins' daughter told the newspaper that her mother had passed away and that the plane's occupants were traveling to Europe for work. Around 7:45 p.m., the twin-engine Bombardier Challenger 600, which can accommodate up to 11 passengers, was taking off from a snow-covered runway at Bangor International Airport when it slammed back into the runway and exploded, killing every person inside, according to officials. The words, "Let there be light," were ominously heard over the flight's radio transmission just before takeoff. However, it's unclear what they meant. An air traffic controller then yelled, "All traffic is stopped on the field," in a hurry. As emergency personnel raced to the disaster, a controller said, "Aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down." Kurt Arnold and his attorney Jason Akin, together with both of their spouses, were well known for their multi-million-dollar contributions to Republican causes in Lone Star State, including the Texas Longhorns football team, to which they promised $40 million. After earning top honors from Tulane Law School, Tara, a native of Louisiana, worked for the business as a specialist in offshore worker injuries. She shared an $11 million home in Houston with her spouse and children. After taking out from Houston, the tragic jet's aircraft had stopped in Bangor at around 6 p.m. for what appeared to be refueling. It was then taking off again in a snowstorm on its way to Paris when the tragedy occurred. According to KHOU, Arnold and Akin Law did not reply to the Post's request for comment and has not made any public remarks regarding the incident. What part the continuing winter storm Fern may have played in the wreck is still unknown. Before the accident, a number of other aircraft were taking off, but the airport was also de-icing aircraft that were waiting on the tarmac. It's unclear if the unfortunate airplane was involved in those operations. The airport was de-icing airplanes that were waiting on the tarmac, but a number of other aircraft were taking off before the collision. After leaving Houston, the private plane arrived in Maine just after 6 p.m. and has been sitting in the cold ever since. It is still unknown if this was a part of the de-icing process. According to aviation consultant Jeff Gazzetti, Bombardier Challenger 600s have a history of experiencing takeoff issues during bad cold weather takeoffs. The plane is known to be impacted by tiny ice accumulations. I'm sure the NTSB is going to look into that right away given the weather conditions at the time and the history of wind contamination with this particular aircraft, he stated. They would have needed to clean off those wings before they took off if there was any kind of precipitation at all. Freezing precipitation. Gazzetti continued. The airport was shut down due to the collision, and it won't reopen until Wednesday.